I would first like to thank President Lebron, Dean Matsuda, and the entire administration for inviting me to speak today. It's quite an honor to stand up here before you. However, as I stand here before you today, I can't help but feel wildly unprepared. Unlike Griffin, who just addressed the undergrads as a fellow graduating senior, I stand here having not yet achieved the entire reason we're all gathered here to celebrate, my degree. I still have at least a year left before I'll have the honor of wearing those thick doctoral robes and sitting in the sun in your seats, which I now address. But if grad school has taught me anything, it's how to look like I know what I'm talking about, when in fact, I have no idea what I'm doing. So, here we go. In all seriousness, it's an odd sensation to address you today. I look out at the graduate students sitting in front of me. You are the students who are 1 or 2 years ahead of me when I started grad school. You are the ones who knew what you were doing and where you were going when I didn't even know where Valhalla was. You were the ones who took me to the best taco trucks in Houston, who showed me how to be a scientist and a scholar, and who became my friends, my community, our GSA family. I looked up to you, and I still do. I started grad school like many others did, fresh out of undergrad and not really knowing what I was doing or what I'd even signed up for. But here, for the first time in my life, it was cool to be a nerd. I was finally cool, and I immediately felt like I belonged in this community. But as I looked up to some of the more senior students in my program, I couldn't help but sometimes hear a tiny voice in my head telling me, "You don't actually belong here. You're not a scholar like they are. You're an imposter." Imposter syndrome is a concept I never understood until I started graduate school. It's so easy, too easy, to look at people around you who appear to be more intelligent or more confident and to think, they actually know what they're doing. They belong here, and I don't. But know that in those moments of self-doubt, you were mistaken. And I hope that as you progressed in your program, you were able to tell that little nagging voice to sit down and be quiet. That as you became more a part of this graduate student community, you were able to look around and see that none of us really actually know what we're doing. We're all progressing through our programs and learning, and that's exactly what we came to grad school to do. We learned from our faculty, we learned from each other, and we learned from those old guys who never seem to leave Valhalla, but always have an opinion and a story to tell you. This continual learning, this asking of questions that never seem to lead to answers, but instead to endlessly more questions, this constant pursuit of knowledge is what has shaped you into the scholars that you are today. Today, you are the most senior students in your programs. As Dean Matsuda says at orientation, you are the authorities and the experts in your field. Tomorrow, you're going to be the newest, freshest, greenest person at your job. Or perhaps you'll just feel like you are. But don't forget, you will still be that same authority and expert that you are right now. Recall, no one's ever told me that I didn't belong in grad school. I've always just told myself. You're not an imposter. You never have been. You are a researcher, an authority, an expert, a scholar. You've earned those titles, and today serves as proof of that fact. But alas, there is food to be eaten, and there are toasts to be made. And these robes are so thick, I basically feel like I'm sitting in an oven, and I'm in the shade. So I will simply conclude by saying, on behalf of the entire Graduate Student Association, but mostly from myself, congratulations on all that you have achieved. You have been, and you continue to be, such an inspiration to all of us who follow in your footsteps in the GSA community. Best of luck on all of your future adventures. Thank you.